No, I feel like this is Build a Better Business. I'm talking with Linda. She just did a 1 day masterclass, and it was for 90 minutes. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But before we get started, I just want to share for everyone that's listening how you can find us as far as Build a Better Business. And then we're also going to share how you can find Linda and what it is that she's doing. This is going to go out on all of our podcasts, and so it's open to the public to find our information. So first of all, I want to share. I'm Kathy Benner. I'm a passive income coach, and I'm actually turning out, as and I teach this, the more you do what it is that you do, the more you become who it is that you're supposed to become. And I am becoming more of a mentor than a coach. And I kind of like that. It actually fits me better. And early on, I had my business coach told me that I needed to be a coach. And so I said, well, okay. But a mentor, and again, if you look up the words, words make a difference. And so a passive income mentor kind of suits me better. So I'm now playing around with the idea of changing up my copy on all of my material to say passive income mentor. And so I haven't done that yet, but that is kind of running around in my mind. And so that's what we want to talk about today is as we build a better business and as we start to unfold, and we've all heard that, you can't see around the corner of the path. You have to walk down the path before you can see around the corner. And so as we're walking down that path and building our business, things do become more clear. We get clarity. And so I do want to say to everyone that's listening that action comes first and clarity comes second. And oftentimes we get stuck because we're waiting to be totally clear on what it is that we want to launch or how we want to do something or how we want it to look. And then we never quite pull the trigger to launch it because we're never clear, because clarity can't come until you take action first. So start, make it messy. It's okay. It's okay if something doesn't work right the first time. Believe me, you want to do that when you only have 10 people in the room, not when you have 200 in the room. And so go ahead and let it be messy and figure it out and sort it out and get clarity and just keep going forward with your dreams. So when we build a better business, each month we have a different topic. And so in January, we talked all about our VPS, our value proposition. What promise are we making to our listeners? And then in February, we talked about storytelling and how storytelling is our marketing and how our story is so important. That's the cornerstone of your business because folks want to know why are you doing what you're doing, And even for me, and this is a great example, a lot of folks are like, well, if you've got rental properties and that's your passive income, why are you trying to show other people how to have passive income? And it's because of my story. My story it's embedded in my story is my why I'm doing this. Because if I just wanted to, be on the beach all day and and just collect my income from my rentals, I could do that. And there are a lot of people that are doing that. They're like, I'm good. I've got the income that I need. I'm living the life that I want. I'm good. I'm done. And I could do that. But I have a passion for trying to help you achieve some passive income so that you can live the life of your dreams because I remember the struggle. And so that's part of my story. And that's why your story, too, is so important to your listeners and to your clients. Then you want to serve because your serving is your selling. When you first start off and you've got this vision on what you're going to promise your clients, you've got your story, which your why is embedded in there, but you don't have an audience, and what you're just going to talk to the wall. I mean, you don't have an audience. What are you going to do with this information that you feel you really need to share with the world? So if you serve some other gurus that are in your lane that are kind of talking about some of the same things you're talking about, and just serve them. They'll put you in front of their audience, and because their audience is also your audience. So serving is selling. And one of the things that we do in this course is that we have you name 5 influencers that you know that are somewhat in your lane. And then we have you, and we talk all about all the different ways that you can serve them, to where you finally narrow it down to maybe 1 or 2 that you really connect with, and you'll be amazed at how far your business will go just by having that heart to serve. And I don't mean showing up saying, I'm going to do that so I can see what I can get. that's that's not the right attitude. You have to really show up and serve if you get nothing at all, because you can spot a phony, and so can your clients. So don't be that person. So show up and really serve, and just see where it will take you. I think you will be just in awe of how things will turn out at the other end. So now you're starting to develop an audience, but where are you going to send these folks when they say, well, how can I connect with you? What I like what you're saying. How can I find out more about what this is, or how I can do what it is you're talking about, or how I can buy your product, or how I can buy your service? So now you have to have a website or a platform so that you can send all your folks over there. And once you send them over there, it's not enough just to say, here's all my stuff. You want to now create some offers that they can't refuse. So then we go in, and for several months, we talk about what is your first base offer, what's your second base offer, what's your third base offer, what's your home run offer. And after that, and you have all of your offers kind of lined up, and this is where we're going to talk with Linda today, because she did an offer this week, and we're going to talk to her about how that turned out. But anyway, once you have your offers kind of lined up, and you know where you're going and what you want to offer, and again, we get down into the weeds and we talk about all the different ways you can create these offers and what price points and how you can advertise them. Now we're ready to start putting ourselves out there so that folks can find us. And of course, the number one way to put yourself out there is across social media. Everybody is like, oh, I hate that. We hate it and love it. It's a love-hate relationship. We all love to just scroll with no obligation on our part and see what's going on. But when we're obligated to try to grow a business or to try to make something happen on our end, it becomes very frustrating across social media. So again, we talk about how to kind of just automate that, make it kind of go on its own, how to publish across the social media so that you have a presence there so folks can find you. But one of the better ways, and that's what this month is all about, to get folks to know, like, and trust you, is to create a blog and just blog about what you're doing and how you're doing it. Because folks will find you in your blog and tap through, and maybe even sign up to get onto your mailer, to where, on your email list. And now they're getting content from you every week, every month, or how often you're sending out a blog. And so this is a great way to get folks to get to know, like, and trust you. So we want to talk a little bit about blogging today, but we're going to circle back to Linda first before we get into that. But then next month, we're going to talk about podcasting. That's another way. Once you get clarity and you fine-tuned your message, and it does take a minute. Am I right, Linda? It takes a minute to fine-tune the message to where you feel confident and you can have just a general conversation with someone, and you're not like reading notes or like, wait a minute, you get your talking points. You want to be able to just put all the paper away and just have a conversation when you're on a blog. But you have to have that clarity of, and I'll say, not only the clarity of your message, but the clarity of your heart. Why are you doing this? Why is this message that you have so important? Why is this product that you're selling so important? And so once you have that clear in your mind and you have that clarity, you're ready to be a guest on any podcast, because no matter what they ask you, you know. And so that's where we're at. We talk about podcasting next month. And then finally in December, everybody's biggest fear, public speaking. Because when you go out to advertise, you can do a little 20-minute talk about why your message is so important and what your message is to a room full of people. And you would pay thousands of dollars to get in front of that number of folks on a regular advertising campaign. But when you're public speaking, you can do it in one setting. You can just be in front of a ton of folks. Even if you're just talking to a Chamber of Commerce luncheon, you're going to have 40, 50, 100 folks in the room. And they're all open to hear what you have to say. They're there to hear you. And so it's a perfect place to market your products and services. But again, you have to have the clarity when you're blogging, podcasting, and speaking, because you don't want to have to stop and refer to notes and think, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to say here? So again, lead with your heart, and the abundance will follow. I'm stealing one of Linda's terms, her abundance. But we're going to talk to Linda for just a bit about her latest product that she launched. And Linda, am I correct that you did this one day as a freebie? Am I right? Okay. So again, we talk about the different offers, and you can have we call it, your first base, second base, third base, and home run. And your first base is going to be your freebie. Think of it like the Jimmy Dean sausage when you go to Costco and the girl has you try it, and it's free and it's no risk to you. So you taste it and you walk out with 2 boxes, because you're like, oh, that was pretty good. And so that's what a free offer will do for your business, is it allows folks to get to know you and to hear you and to look at your products, look at your services, whatever. And a freebie allows them to connect with you, and it lets them decide, I really like that girl. I think, so now when something else comes through their inbox from Linda, they'll go, oh yeah, that was that great little freebie masterclass I did. Yes, I'm clicking on this and see what she's got now, because that information was so good that I don't want to miss whatever she has to offer now. I at least want to check it out. And so that's what the free offer is meant to do. And from there, you would go to what we call your second base, which has a lower price tag, but yet some of those folks that maybe did your freebie, they might go, oh yeah, it's worth $47. Sure, I'll do that. Or $97, or wherever your mid-level offer falls in there. And so now you can create that mid-level offer and you can market that. And then finally, your third base offer, and this is the one where we kind of have to reverse engineer a little bit, because I'll tell all of you that are listening, your third base offer is going to be your bread and butter. It's going to be what you make the most money with. And whatever that thing is, whatever that offer is, but maybe it's a membership site, maybe it's coaching, whatever it is that is your main income, that's going to be your third base offer. So sometimes you have to decide what that thing is first, what that third base is first, and then say, what could my second base be? And then what could my freebie be? And then your home run, that's the one where you don't sell a lot of those, but when you do, you go out and have a glass of champagne and celebrate, because you go, oops, somebody bought the big one. And the higher ticket one, you don't want 500 people, because you couldn't give them the amount of dedication that they would need for that kind of a ticket price. So you want a smaller group in those higher paid ticket, because it's going to take a lot more of you when you have the higher paid offers. So anyway, that's the breakdown. The one that I'm going to have Linda share with us next is her free one. And Linda, start with how you decided what you wanted the topic. Well, first of all, tell the folks what it is that you do, overarching what you do, and then how did you decide the topic for this free one?
Okay. My overarching topic is I choose abundance, and it has several lanes, including financial freedom, time freedom, vibrant relationships, and leaving a wonderful legacy. And so in the legacy piece, I have a course that I've created called the Legacy of Love Project. And So in one of Kathy's groups, I mean, I'm in several, so we travel in a bunch of lanes together. We were talking about what I might do for a workshop, a challenge, or whatever. And as we were chatting, I threw out two topics, and I think one had more to do down the line with the legacy of love. And then I mentioned, almost as a throwaway, something that had been on my mind, which is how important it is that we secure our digital online assets. And when I started talking just briefly about that, if anything would happen to us, especially death, all of our stuff might be locked down, and our heirs or families might not ever be able to access our photos, our emails, or know how to pay the bills, or any of all the stuff, because our lives are so entwined with the interwebs, you know, these days. And so when I mentioned that, I got a heavy response to go with that versus the other. And I was like, well, there you go. So I started putting together ideas on what I might do in a workshop or a multi-day mastermind. And fortunately, I'm in several different groups, like locally, live, as well as online. I had a chance to do several presentations and kind of work out the outline. And so I was able to use a lot of what I had put together for that in the workshop. And that was very
Yes.
helpful.
Repurpose. Yes.
That.
Yes. That's a great job doing that, by the way. Yeah. And so now give us a little bit of the nuts and bolts. So now you've presented this a couple of times. You've worked out some of the system that you want to present this in, the order that you want to present it in. And so now you're ready to put together your own free workshop. And where did you start? What was the first thing that you did after coming up with, of course, your content? Behind the scenes, what was the first thing that you did?
Well, I needed to think it through, and then I needed to actually get myself off the dang starting line. And I needed to put it out there that I am going to do a thing. And I don't know, I think there are ways that, like, when you're creating a Facebook event, you can link it to Eventbrite, or vice versa. You can link it from Eventbrite to Facebook. I didn't know that. I just knew that I had seen somebody with a Facebook event, and when you went to their page, there was an Eventbrite link to register, even if it was a free event. And when I saw that earlier this year, I was like, that's how I'm going to do it when I do it. And so I created the Eventbrite event first, and then I created a Facebook event, wrote the little message actually on both, and they were slightly different, so that people wouldn't be like, oh, this again, you know, if they went to the second page. And I started putting it out there. And I have, you know, multiple Facebook, multiple Instagram, and LinkedIn. So I peppered it there. And then you had offered to let me post in some of your groups. And I had some other generous friends in other groups that I was able to put a post there.
Well, just for our listeners, so that you know, we talk oftentimes, and many of you have heard the term of a landing page. You got to have a landing page. If you're going to have a product or a service, you have to have a landing page, which is, don't confuse that. All a landing page is, in essence, is just a page in your website that you can designate to send people to that URL, which is the little address at the top in the address bar, so that anyone that clicks on that URL link ends up landing on that page. And Eventbrite is a great little tool in the fact that you can create an event, even if it's a free event. And it has also a way that folks can click to get a ticket. And if it's, and if you decide to have your event as your second base or third base, you know, where you're actually going to be charging, it has a little pay source already embedded inside the Eventbrite. And all you do is click whether it's free or whether it's $47 or whatever. And Eventbrite takes care of all that. And if it's a free event, there is no charge to you. And if it's an event that you put there that does have a charge, the only charge to you is the processing of them to do the processing fees to process folks' credit cards that sign up for your 47 or 97 or whatever you choose to do there as far as a paid event. So my point is that it's kind of a nice little ready-made for you landing page, sales funnel, if you will, because there's not a lot of choices. So it's easy because you don't have to create anything really. You're just plugging in a picture, you're plugging in the title, you're plugging in a description, and then you're deciding whether it's free or whether there's a price. And that really is all there is to it. Now, like Linda, the reason I like Eventbrite is because it makes your attendee feel like they got something to confirm their attendance. When you go to Facebook and there's an event and you go, oh, I'm interested, or oh, I'm going, there's no real commitment there, because you'll even see those events where 500 people said they're interested and 300 people said they're going and 20 show up the day of the event, because there's no real commitment on your part. You as the reader or as the attendee, I could go through and I could say that I'm attending every single event on Facebook and I wouldn't have to show up to any of them. There's no penalty if I don't, you know. And so when I go to Eventbrite and I click through and I have to put in my email address, this does two things. Number one, it gives Linda an email to add to her email list. So don't forget to go back and do that off of your Eventbrite.
I did.
And yep. And number two, it sends me as the attendee a ticket in my inbox, which now makes me feel more obligated to show up because now I've got a ticket and Linda's expecting me, because I know Eventbrite has already told her my email address and that I told her I was coming. So now she's expecting me. So even if it's a free event, an Eventbrite, I think, gives for a better attendance than a Facebook event. Now, not to say don't post on Facebook. I mean, certainly post there, but you'll see what Linda did is she simply put the Eventbrite link inside her Facebook event. So when folks clicked on it, that still took them out to Eventbrite to actually register so that she could capture their email. And in that case, then they would get a ticket in their inbox, which made it more likely that they were going to show up
Yeah.
for the event.
I love that
So,
psychological piece.
yes.
I think
And so don't underestimate something as simple as a free Eventbrite. And one of my favorites is Meetup. And it does cost to have a Meetup account. But then you can have, I think, up to 3 meetups on just your basic account, which is like, I don't know, $90 for the whole year or something. It's not hugely expensive. And so I like Meetup. And so several of my groups, that's where most of my attendees come through, is through the Meetup platform. And it's the same thing. There is an event there. And when they register that they're coming to an event, Meetup actually separates them out and gives you a list of the people that said yes. And then you have the option that you can do some marketing just within that event, not within, I mean, you can market within the whole group, but if you're doing a series of events, like let's say you're doing a Meetup, like Linda's doing this free class, let's say that she decides to do it every month, she could put it over in Meetup as a monthly class. And then as people sign up, they might say, well, I can't do the November one, but I could do the December one. And they sign up there. She now has a mailing list of emails just for that event that she can then capture as well. So don't underestimate some of these free apps out there, because a lot of you that are getting started, you're like, I don't even know what to do. I don't know where to go. How would I even do any sort of a master class like Linda did? I mean, what are the mechanics behind it? So once you decided then what your outline was, you practiced it on a couple other groups, you had that clarity on what you wanted to present. You then created your event on Facebook and on Eventbrite. Now, what platform did you use to actually do the actual masterclass on?
Okay, there's one or two things I'd like to throw in about the Eventbrite
Okay.
topic. I was really pleased with how easy it was creating. Really all you need is a piece of cover art and a little bit of text to say what your event is, and boom, you're rolling. Fill out all the little answers, yes, no, whatever. But I did want to point out it is free if you have a free event. However, they've gone to a flex plan format now. And so it's free for up to 25 registrants. And if you
Okay.
want more than that, even if it's a free event, you pay $9.99, not a big deal. And it ups your level of people that can register to 100. And then
Okay.
there's like a 250, there's like different tiers. But so I was watching the number of people who enrolled, and as I got closer to the 25, I went ahead and did the $10 piece just to make sure, because you never know who's going to enroll at
Right.
the last minute. And I didn't want them to get the big, wall of some kind. So I went ahead and upgraded, and I was like, for the ability to communicate with people who are interested, I am willing to pay $10, however many people come.
So
So
I didn't know that piece because I haven't jumped on Eventbrite for a while. So thank you for that.
yeah,
But yes, for the $9.99 or whatever. Now, is that ongoing on however many events you create, or is that just for that event?
that event. And
Just
so
for that
like,
one event.
as
Okay.
if you're doing what I did and you're watching how many people enrolling and you're at like 18, 19, 20, and you're like, uh-oh, I don't know where this is going to go. All you have to do is go back to your back office and change the number of attendees that you want to have. So I had said 25 because I realized that was the free level. And then I just said, oh, 100. And it's like, okay, well, just give us $9.99 and you're all good.
Okay.
So
So it was
yeah, I'm
easy to
happy to
make the
share that.
transition. Okay. And you didn't have to redo the ad or anything like that. You
Nope.
just, in the back of the house, just bumped up your attendees. Now,
Mm-hmm. Easy.
we're just getting ready to talk to Linda about what platform she used to actually do the master class on, but I will jump in and say this. I like to use Zoom, which is what we're on today. For any of you that are listening, this is a Zoom call, a Zoom webinar, and I like the Zoom format. I like how it records it for us. I like how it separates it out into video, audio, and then just audio only for my podcast. I like how it does all of that. And so when I'm on a Zoom call, I get a little overwhelmed if I have more than 25 people, because 25 will all fit on one screen. For those of you that have done Zoom calls, you've seen all the little Hollywood squares up there on your screen, and 25 will fit all on your laptop on one page. But when you get over 25, it then rolls it over to page 2. And then when you get more than 50, it rolls it over to page 3. And you can't see everyone when you're presenting. So you might decide that 25 is the maximum number for a free event. And you could even put that in your ad that we're accepting the first 25, which also gives your whole ad a little bit of urgency. Like, oh my gosh, I better sign up now, or I might, once 25 folks are in there, I can't get in.
I love
And
that.
so, yeah, it might give you a little bit of urgency for your attendees to sign up if you do limit it to 25. And that way it keeps you in the free version on Eventbrite, and it keeps your Zoom call to everyone being on one screen, so that you're not scrolling, when George answers a question and now you're trying to find what page George is on, so that you can have a chat with him. So anyway,
Right. I love that.
so just as a comment, and again, you get this stuff as you do it. And so I guess that's my main point, is if you think you're going to have it all like perfectly in your brain on how this is going to go, trust me, it isn't. You have to start, and it's okay if it's a little messy. I follow some pretty big gurus, and they'll have a messy call every so often, and they just kind of roll with it, because that's kind of how the soup is made. You kind of get to see what goes on behind the scenes with them, and then you realize it's really not that big of a deal. But when you first start, you're really nervous, because you know, you got so many things in your mind. You're thinking, okay, I've got to have my makeup on. I got to have my hair done. I got to have the lighting correct. I got to have, you know, I've got to be in the perfect room with the perfect place, with the perfect computer, with the, you know, and after a while, I've done my Zoom calls from, you know, the car on my phone before, because just recently I went to Cincinnati with my granddaughter, and she wanted to learn to drive on the freeway, and she has an older car. And so we wanted to take her car so she was comfortable with her car. And of course her car broke down and we were in Cincinnati. And I had a call that night where I was going to interview this bed and breakfast owner on my ins and outs of opening a bed and breakfast. And I ended up doing it from the parking lot of a filling station on my cell phone. And nobody knew unless I told them, you know, but after a while you just roll with it, you know, and, but you have to get comfortable enough with whatever products and services that you are going to use to do your products. You have to get comfortable enough that you can roll with that. Now, brand new, if this would have been like the second time I did it out of the chute, I would have just been having a meltdown, because I would have been on my phone. I couldn't see anybody else, because if you've ever done a Zoom call on your phone, you just see the person that's talking. You can't see anybody else because your screen's not big enough to see everybody else. And so, you know, I wasn't in front of my computer, and I would have simply had a meltdown, but I didn't. And life was good. And she didn't know the difference. The caller, I told her after the fact, and she even said, I would have never guessed that. And it was a wonderful call. And we had a, you know, it was one of the biggest ones, because she talked about her bed and breakfast being haunted. That would, and so see, content is king, and folks wanted to hear her content. So it's been one of the biggest ones that folks have clicked on YouTube to watch. And it's me, you know, in the parking lot of a filling station. And behind the filling station, I walked clear to the back to get, because the traffic noise was so loud out front, that I walked clear to the back of this parking lot of a filling station and did my interview on my cell phone. So I'm just saying. So Linda, tell us about what you went through, and what was your thought process on finally implementing this particular class?
Yeah, so I did use Zoom. I'm very comfortable there. And all the reasons that you mentioned, the multi-part storing of the pieces of the event. I'm just so comfortable. I've been using it for years. And what I did was, I will say there's a little bit of confusion with your Facebook people, because they think, well, I said I was going on Facebook. I must be going to a Facebook event. It must be going to
Oh,
be alive. So you have to really like provide some guidance and some clarity so that people aren't unsure what the heck's going on. So what I did was I grabbed all the emails from Eventbrite and put them into my autoresponder
okay.
program. But I also created a small Facebook PM group with the folks that I was friends with. And
Okay.
so via email and via Facebook PM, I provided them the Zoom link.
Okay. So
So
that way they weren't confused about where to go to tap in on the
yeah,
day of the call. Okay.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
And like
I get that.
in the Eventbrite page and the Facebook event page, I said, I'll be sending you, you know, the access link when we get closer to the time. But people don't always see all the things. And so it was having the emails go straight to everybody's box was great, because I, you know, some people were strangers to me, you know, via
Hmm.
Facebook. So I wouldn't have that access to them. But for all the ones that did know me, like you, I was able to pop everybody into that one little PM group, a private message group, and just say, hey, everybody, just wanted to let you know, this is how we're going to meet together on Wednesday. So it worked out very, very smoothly.
Okay. Perfect. I love that. I love that. So now, walk us through, you open up the call, you tell everybody what it's about, and so you're on for 90 minutes. Did you have a formula that you wanted to follow? Because again, we talk about, you know, once you know your why and why you're doing this, you can put together where you want folks to end up. Did you have a call to action somewhere in the course of that 90 minutes to
I
bring them
did.
to another level of your offers?
I did. And like I opened with some nice basic questions when you're starting a meeting like that, like what made you want to enroll, or what made you want to come to this today? Because you start to get a feel for some of the issues, concerns, and pain points. And plus it's in the chat, so yay, you can go back to it. And by the way, pro tip, this is what I always do. Go into your back office in Zoom and set it to always record the chat. And I have mine set to always record my events, because what's worse than being into like what you consider to be a high value meeting that you're attending and the host was preoccupied and never hit record. So I just try to keep my butt out of that sling by presetting.
That's a good tip. That's a good tip. And I've forgotten a couple of times to record, so I get it. And so I chose not to have that automatically on when I come onto a call, because a lot of times I'll just chat with the folks as we're coming on, and because I do not edit. And here's another pro tip. You can decide at the other end of your Zoom call, once you get the recording, you can edit, you can clip the ends. So if you've got some jibber jabber at the front, you can clip it in to where it starts where you want it to start. So even if you do record the whole thing and it records, oh hi, oh hey, let me go get a coffee, or let me, and you know, and on a video, that might be okay because you see what's going on. But when you're listening to just the audio version on a podcast, you're kind of like, what are they doing? There's like this gap of silence there.
It's a little
And so
boring.
you'll want to clip that.
However, when you have it preset to record and you open it up, you get a verbal, an audio saying this meeting is being recorded, and you're the only one on because you just turned on the meeting. But in the upper left corner, you can pause the recording. And then after everybody has done all the hellos and you're ready to roll, you just hit the resume button. So it is pretty seamless that way.
Yes. So anyway, it's however you like to do that, and you'll figure that out the more you do. If you choose to use Zoom for any of your products and services, you'll figure out what you like to do best, and then how you want to clip the ends of that if you need to. And then of course there are folks that then throw that whole recording onto a program where they can add music and all kinds of things. And I have not done that. I've chosen not to do that. I listened to a video, audio video early on. And the consensus there was that folks either want to see something incredibly polished, like a radio show, or incredibly raw. They didn't like the in-between. That the general listener did not like that in between, because it made them feel like the person was trying to be polished but wasn't. And so I just chose, because I'm working with all newbies, folks that have never maybe launched a business before. And I chose to just leave mine raw and to just start in on the podcast and say, here we are today, and this is what we're talking about. And I don't know about you, but when I go to YouTube, if I'm really wanting some information, a lot of times I'm a little annoyed at their intro, because I'm like, come on, get to my question. And they're talking about, oh, this podcast has been in existence for so many, and I'm thinking, okay, come on, get to my question. Just answer my question. I just want to know how to do this. And so I'll catch myself even moving the bar past all of that, because I'm strapped for time, and I'm not really interested in all of their music at the beginning and end. So anyway, it's just preference. So now you're on the call, you've got everything going on. And I have not listened to your recording yet. I just saw it come in my email this morning. But did you have any hiccups, or did everything go smoothly throughout the whole call? Did you have any moments where you were like, oops, I needed to do this or do that? Anything like that happen during the call? Because again, we wouldn't necessarily see it on our end, but you would know it on your end.
Yeah, I was amazed at how smoothly it went, because you're prepared for anything to go sideways, truly, you know. But the tech cooperated, so I'm so grateful. I had a few people that had a little trouble logging in for whatever reason. I mean, the link was good, but you never know what's going on. So we waited for a few people to come on,
Okay.
and that part worked well. Some people had to leave for a meeting, and interestingly, I had two people, given my topic, I had two people that were dealing with a death and had to keep their time short.
Wow.
Some people were driving to a memorial while they listened to the second half of our meeting.
Talk about being at the right place at the right time of
Yeah,
needing this information. Wow. And
yeah.
so for those of you that are listening, get a hold of Linda. I'm going to have her put her information in the chat so that I can actually publish this, but get a hold of her. I don't know if there's a way that they can, once your recording time is over, because I know you had it for a limited time. If
Mhm.
some folks hear this later, is there a way they can connect with you and maybe get a copy of that recording? Or because this information is so important. And I just truly believe that it's one of, not only do folks not do end of life planning in general, but if they're not doing that, they're certainly not protecting their digital assets. They're not going to lead with protecting digital assets. A lot of them, that doesn't even, it hadn't even occurred to them as being an issue.
I
And
know.
yeah, so this is such an important topic. So Linda, I'll put in the chat how folks can at least connect with you so that you can have a conversation. So if anybody is interested in this information, get in touch with
Sure.
her. Could be that she's got another class coming up, or there's a way to get that recording, but for whatever reason, definitely connect with Linda to get that information.
Yes.
So anyway, once we get through this and you've practiced your offers, you're ready to start marketing those. And so we want to talk just a hint about the technology today. So I'm going to share my screen just to give you a little bit of information. So to start off with, when you go to either kathybenner.com or to the Kathy Benner International Academy, this is the page that you will see. This is my homepage. And I want to show you where to find this information. So for folks that are watching this, and also over in, when I do the actual podcast over in just the audio version, I do put the YouTube link there. So, and I just say, if anybody wants to see the video version, click here and it will give you the video version. So you can see what we're seeing right now. But when you find this entrepreneur and solopreneurs, that's where we are today, and you click on that particular link, it's going to show you the Build a Better Business. And here is the course. Right now we're in the free meetup. This is the one that we're in this morning, but here is the course. And then we do have a mastermind, and the mastermind is $25 a month, but it includes the course. And so this is what I wanted to show you. But before I click on that, when you scroll down in this entrepreneur and solopreneur category, you will see we have a second lane here. And this is where we help you develop these master classes, masterminds, or challenges. And Linda is an intricate part of this particular lane as well. And that's where we talked about her putting this together. But today we're in the Build a Better Business. So I'm going to click on the course here to show you everything that we have in the course. And again, there is a fee to buy the course, but don't buy that if you're going to do the mastermind, because the course comes with the mastermind automatically. And so I'm going to scroll down, and we talk about adding more heart to your business. And we're not going to get into that today, but I talked early on when we first started today about your why, your deepest why you're putting together your products and services. And then we talked about your value proposition statement, which is what is your promise to your audience. Then your storytelling, and I'm just going to click on this. And then we talked about serving is selling. And then I threw in a little section here about how to BBB your website. And this is how you can create a character when you're writing your website. This is the person who has the problem. Think about who that person is and what their problem is. Remember, your VPS is what problem are you solving for your client. So think about this client and what their problem is and how you're going to be their guide, and you're going to give them the plan. And you see how Linda in her mind had this character, this person, and she actually had some in her call. that what are they going to do to protect digital assets? Because now they're off to memorial service and it's a little too late to protect those digital assets. And so there's nothing like, hindsight is 2020, as they say. And they're saying, oh my goodness, I need to know this information. So they have a problem. They meet Linda, who is their guide, and she's going to give them a plan on how they can protect those digital assets. And then she's going to call them to action to help them to avoid failure, which is going to end in their success. So that's the formula that everything you create should have, including your website. And so now you're going to put together offers that will help your audience get there. So again, when we talk about offers, this is where you do your first base offer. This is where Linda's class came in, where she did this first base offer for free. Then there's a second base offer. And then the third base, which again, I've said earlier, this is going to be your bread and butter. So don't give this one away. This is where you make most of your money. This is where you want to ultimately send all your folks as they go down your sales page. And then finally, your home run package. And then once you have all of that together, you're ready to put all of that onto your website or into a sales funnel. And now you have to segue and you're going to take off your creative hat. You're going to take off your teaching hat. You're going to take off your coaching hat. And now you're going to put on your marketing hat. Because now it's how do you tell all the folks that you have these products? And so this is where blogging comes in. And the month of October is all about blogging. So this is where blogging comes in, which is what we're talking about today. And then, of course, next month, we're going to talk about podcasting. And then in December, we're going to talk about public speaking. So I'm going to come back to blogging and we're going to hit this one before we close today. And I'm simply going to click on the 10 reasons why blogging is important for business owners. Doesn't matter what your product or service is, it is important. First of all, blogging is going to bring traffic to your website. For those of you that have done any research on SEOs or search engine optimization, you know that the more fingers that point back to your website, the higher your website is going to be in the search engines. So when you're blogging, you're pointing back to your website. And so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to bring more traffic back to your website because you are pointing back to your own website. You can sit there with a website and hope that a bunch of other people point back to your website, but you need to point back to your website. And again, last month we talked all about social media doing that. When you post something on Facebook or on Instagram or Pinterest, point back to your website someplace in your post, because the more points that come back to your website, the more your website's going to show up. Okay. So search engines, social media, blogging, point that back. And so blogging is huge. So they're great for SEOs because now you can also decide what content you're going to put into that blog post. And you can now go over to, and the one that I like to use, it's free, it's simple, it's easy, is Google Trends. I like to go over to Google Trends and see what's trending on a particular subject. And what we're saying is, how are people searching for your information? And once you determine how people are searching, what phrases they're asking, what questions they're asking, you can then put some of those phrases and words into your blog post. And guess what? When they search with those phrases, your blog post is going to come up as an answer. And so all of a sudden, you're going to get more traffic because you're using the correct words in your content. You can describe your business in detail. How many times have we gone on other Facebook groups and they're like, don't market anything you're doing. This is just for general information. And so you want to do that. You want to honor all of those other Facebook groups. You don't want to go in and just, dump all of your marketing material in there. But you're like, well, what's the point in joining all these other groups if I can't advertise myself? Why am I here? Well, again, you have to go back to serving is selling. Serving is selling. Don't forget that. Mark that down, put it on your mirror, tape it on the front of your computer. Serving is selling. When you go into those groups, you want to serve those folks because trust me, if they connect with what you're saying, they'll click on your profile. Okay, a little side note, and we talked about this last month because last month was our social media. When somebody clicks on your profile, can they get to your website link or do you not have it there? Be sure you update your profile. Okay. Now I'm going to remember what link I'm in. I'm just going to show you. Bear with me just a moment. I just think this is important. This is so overlooked by so many folks. I want to go to my profile. And when you click on my profile, right here in your edit bio, make sure you have this updated. We talked about this in our social media month. And of course, today's our blogging month. But if your blog, if you're going to mention your Facebook over in your blog and folks then click, make sure when they scroll down that you have these links filled out. They can go to my link tree, they can go to my freestyle living, they can go to my website, they can go to my guest house, they can go to my real estate, they can go to wherever they're looking for, or they can click all around in there and see what's going on. Don't forget to do that in your Facebook. I don't know about you, but I've wanted to connect with some folks that I've been listening to on Facebook. I've read their posts and I'm like, oh, this guy would be great. Now, are you ready for this? This is how it works. This guy would be great to be on my podcast. I can't find him. I love everything he said in a group. And when I click on his profile, there's no way to connect with him. So I'm trying to help elevate his business and I can't find him. So don't forget to fill this out. Make sure this is so important. Okay. So anyway, back to describe your business in detail. When you're on a blog, it's your blog. You can talk about whatever you want. There's nobody that says you can't say that in our group. This is your blog. You can say whatever you want in your own blog. You can demonstrate your authority. It says recent statistics have shown that blogs are the 5th most trusted source for content online. So put yourself out there. Say this is my gig. This is my deal. This is my vibe. I know what I'm talking about here. Linda knows what she's talking about. She can talk with authority when it comes to protecting digital assets. She can create a blog that makes her the authority on the subject. And there's no one that says she can't. She can develop her own voice in however she wants to write. She can write in an engaging, casual, yet authoritative style. Okay. So this is your blog. This is what you're writing. So now you're starting to engage with your readers. Now you're going to get some customer insight. You're going to find out. And I don't know about you, but sometimes, you know, we think we know what our customers want and we really don't. Our customers then will move on because they're like, that's not exactly what I'm looking for. So here's where Linda started by asking questions. Well, on the blog, folks can comment on your blog. They can ask questions on your blog. So at this point, you can keep the conversation going. And so what you're doing is you're building a relationship with your blog post. And so there's opportunities for sharing. You can link to other relevant content so you can bring tons of value. It's fun and it's free. And so those are the reasons why blogging is important. Okay. So again, I showed you how to get into the Kathy Benner International Academy. It's under kathybenner.com. I showed you how to get to the course, how you can connect to all of the information there. You can also join the mastermind, which includes the course, and you can join us on Mondays where we get down in the weeds a little more with all of this content information. And then I mentioned today not to forget to update your profile in your Facebook. So anyway, that's what I have for today. And Linda, thank you so much for being with us. Let me see. It says you can use the email button and request the digital assets workshop replay. She'll be happy to send the replay link. So perfect. So I will definitely put that in, when I describe our call for today, I will definitely include that information. So anyway, I want to thank you for coming on and listening. And Linda, thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate everything you've shared with us today. Is there any comments that you would like to leave our listeners with today? Oh, you're on mute.
Obviously the topic of the workshop was extremely important. One thing that could have gone weird was I had several experts attending, so I
Oh,
was a little bit, but it went extremely well with that. Another piece of tech that could have gone bad was the roulette wheel, because I did a giveaway. And I had it preloaded with all the registrants, and then I had made it that only those who stuck around to the end could be in the running. So I had to hurry up and edit the names out,
okay.
and then do the spin. But that went very smoothly also. And I did, I provided so much information. You've been to plenty of trainings where people are like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to implement all of that. So that was how I was able to mention my course as, we cover this and much more, and we can work with you step by step. And I was able to put the link in the chat. I did not use a slide deck. There was too many other moving parts. Slide deck was
Okay.
not going to happen. And it
Well, and
worked
again,
fine.
for those of you that are listening, once you share your screen on a Zoom call, a lot of the faces kind of go off to the side, and it's a lot easier to do a call if you can actually just have a conversation with your attendees.
It worked, and the conversation was so organic. It was really wonderful. So I'm
I
so
love it.
grateful for that. And then so I did create a landing page with an inset box for the video replay. And I had a countdown timer, so the video will play until a certain time and date. And then whenever that timer reaches 0, there's a pop-up that says, oh, well, it's expired. However, we're giving our friends the back door here that they can reach out to me and ask for it.
Okay.
But then I did also use that landing page below the countdown timer with the opportunity to say a little bit more about how the course could help them. They can get help. And so that was another really marketing or reinforcement opportunity on the landing page. And then even when it goes to the pop-up, I have a button where they can find out more about the course, and then also a little hyperlink that they could connect with me. It goes straight to my calendar page. So that just like you were saying about the gentleman, like if they want to talk to me or reach me, my calendar link is right there. So I feel like I covered the bases pretty well.
Linda, I love it. You're doing amazing. I hope our viewers and listeners will click through for your information, and please join us next month and join us in the mastermind. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. See everybody next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.